Good day, everyone. I'm Janeline B. Canoto. I will be presenting an insightful article that focuses on a very important environmental issue: watershed management and classification in Thailand. This article explores the current practices, challenges, and future directions in managing watersheds, which are critical for ensuring clean water, healthy ecosystems, and sustainable land use. I choose this article because it offers practical solutions and future directions that can guide not just Thailand but also other developing countries, including the Philippines, in managing their natural resources more responsibly. I hope this presentation will help us all better understanding the complexities of watershed management and inspire ideas for how we can contribute to more sustainable environmental practices. For the abstract, the study highlights major problems such as unclear governance, weak coordination among stakeholders, poor integration in planning, and a serious lack of reliable data. These issues are not unique to Thailand, making the findings relevant to other countries facing similar environmental and management challenges. One of the key messages of the article is the importance of community involvement and the use of the modern technologies like remote sensing and hydrological model to improve data collection and support better decision making. It also emphasizes the need for integrated planning, public awareness, and policy support to make watershed management more effective and sustainable. For the methodology, the study uses a qualitative research approach to explore watershed management practices in Thailand. Instead of gathering new data through experiments or surveys, the researchers conducted a comprehensive review for existing academic literature, policy, documents, government reports, and case studies. This method allowed them to gain a deeper understanding of the current conditions, challenges, and potential solutions related to watershed management. The analysis of policy documents focus on identifying gaps, inconsistencies, and overlaps in Thailand legal and institutional frameworks, which may hinder effective watershed governance. The study also examined real-life case studies of watershed projects across the country to assess how policies are implemented in practice and to uncover common obstacles faced during execution, such as weak coordination and lack of community engagement. In addition, the researchers incorporated insights from various stakeholders, including government agencies, local communities, non-governmental organizations, and technical experts. These perspectives help highlight social, institutional, and practical issues that affect the success of watershed initiatives. By analyzing both the systematic and grassroots level of watershed management, the study provides a well-rounded view of the situation. The qualitative approach is particularly suitable for this research because watershed management is a complex issue that involves environmental, social, and institutional dimensions which require a contextual and interpretive understanding rather than purely quantitative analysis. For the results and discussion, the article identifies several major challenges that hinder effective watershed management in Thailand, affecting both the performance of current programs and the long-term sustainability of watershed ecosystem. One of the primary issues is related to governance. There are ambiguities in structures, meaning that the rules and responsibilities of various government agencies and institutions are often unclear or overlapping. This confusion leads to delays in decision-making and implementation. Additionally, inconsistencies in laws and regulations across regions make it difficult to enforce watershed management policies effectively. Another significant challenge in the lack of stakeholder coordination. Various actors, including government bodies, local authorities, private sectors, and community groups, often operate independently or pursue conflicting goals. This disjointed approach results in efficient use of resources and duplicated efforts. The article highlights that true progress in watershed management depends on strong cooperation and synchronization among all involved stakeholders. Planning deficiencies also pose a major obstacle. Watershed planning is not well integrated across key sectors such as agriculture, forestry, and water resources management, leading to fragmentation and ineffective strategies. Moreover, community participation remains limited despite the fact that local residents are directly impacted by watershed conditions and could contribute significantly to conservation efforts. Without local engagement, planning may miss critical ground level realities, reducing the relevance and success of interventions. A further issue in the presence of data gaps, reliable and up-to-date data is often lacking, which hampers effective planning, monitoring, and evaluation. For example, without accurate hydrological or land use data, predicting environmental risks like flooding or soil erosion becomes difficult, weakening decision-making processes. The article emphasizes that community involvement is not optional, it is essential. Local people bring valuable knowledge, labor, and commitment that can greatly enhance watershed restoration efforts. Another key point is the careful selection of plant species for rehabilitation. Using native or site-appropriate species helps stabilize soil, support biodiversity, and ensure long-term ecosystem health. Additionally, the use of mechanical construction techniques such as check dams, terraces, and water diversion structures is recommended to help control erosion and enhance water retention in degraded areas. Overall, the article argues that for Thailand to achieve sustainable watershed management, it must clarify governance structures, build stronger partnerships among stakeholders, integrate community input into planning, and address data deficiencies by utilizing modern technologies like remote sensing and hydrological models alongside simplified and locally relevant evaluation tools. For the conclusion, the article concludes that successful watershed management in Thailand depends heavily on two key elements: enhancing public understanding and encouraging active community involvement. The authors emphasize that raising awareness among local communities, stakeholders, and policymakers about the importance of sustainable watershed practices is crucial. When people understand how watershed health directly affect their daily lives, such as through water quality, agriculture, flood control, and biodiversity, they are more likely to support and participate in conservation and restoration efforts. Another important conclusion is the need to address the lack of reliable data that continues to hinder effective watershed planning and decision making. The article recommends the use of modern tools like remote sensing and hydrological modeling to improve data collection and analysis. These techniques can help fill information gaps, provide accurate environmental assessments, and support better resource management. Additionally, the article calls for the development of simplified assessment criteria tailored to the specific condition and challenges of each watershed. Instead of relying on overly complex or one-size-fits-all approaches, managers should adopt flexible, easy-to-use tools that allow for more responsive and locally appropriate planning. This would make it easier for local governments, NGOs, and communities to implement and monitor watershed management practices effectively. In summary, the conclusion stresses that a combination of community education, advanced technology, simplified tools, and exclusive policies is essential to improve watershed management in Thailand. These strategies can help build more resilient ecosystem and support long-term sustainability for both the environment and the communities that depend on it. For reflection for future study, future research should aim to design comprehensive and integrated watershed management frameworks that address the complex and changing nature of watershed ecosystem. This includes actively involving local communities in decision-making and management efforts, as their participation ensures that local knowledge and needs are considered. Additionally, research should explore the use of modern technologies such as remote sensing, GIS, and hydrological models to improve data collection, monitoring, and analysis. Lastly, it's important to develop adaptive planning strategies that can respond to environmental changes such as climate variability and land use shift and population growth to ensure sustainable and long-term watershed health and resilience. The proposed future plan aims to strengthen watershed management in several key ways. First, community engagement. Programs will be created to educate and involve local communities in watershed activities, ensuring they understand the importance of their role in protecting and managing water resources. Second, data enhancement. Advanced tools like remote sensing and hydrological models will be used to gather accurate, real-time data. This will help in making better decisions and addressing data gaps that currently hinder effective watershed planning. Third, policy integration. New policies will be developed to encourage cooperation among different sectors, such as agriculture, forestry, and water management, and to ensure that watershed management is concluded in broader regional development plans. Lastly, capacity building. Training programs will equip stakeholders such as government staff, local leaders, and community members with the skills and knowledge they need to carry out conservation practices, select suitable plant species for rehabilitation, and apply effective techniques for soil and water protection.